Morning, my friends. I wonder if you guys wonder, what are my new videos about? You know, these do not judge videos. They're kind of fire and brimstone, showing you to yourself, showing you what do not judge is. But what's the purpose? You know, do you know why this right here is the demiurge symbol? Do you know why it's the symbol for every boogeyman? Every culture that we go into, there'll be some type of boogeyman. If we went into the Phoenician stuff, this is going to be your boogeyman called Baal. Do you know why Baal is the boogeyman? Because it's the god of the pillars, the god of the outside. And Jesus Christ is on the inside. And this, what we're talking about, is going to be the most fantastical thing you've ever heard in your entire life. Movies don't even get close to this fantastical. Stories don't even get remotely close to as fantastical as this story is actually going to get. You know, we go around to our boogeymen. And I'm going to try to hold back on this story a bit because I'm just doing the preliminary right here. I'm just trying to make you guys a video so you understand my last videos, where I'm coming from. But why would this be the god of every boogeyman? This is, and all this stuff is a double-sided coin. So if we went to creepy Saturn, which we're going to have egg on our face in the end of this stuff, thinking we found an enemy to hate because that's what the pillars are. But if we went over to Mecca, and that's the Saturn, like right in our face, even though it's everywhere. And evil Saturn, everyone's walking around the black cube of Mecca, and they're all evil as fuck, of course. But what's making it like that? Because the only thing people know is the judgment of the outside world. So then what was the Garden of Eden? If you have the outside world as the law of duality governed by any god of the pillars, any one of the boogeyman. The lady in red is one of these boogeyman, Baal, Saturn, everything. You know, the Garden of Eden is a time when Christ was on the outside, and no one ever had to worry about a thing, exactly as fantastical as it says in the Bible. And here's another symbol for the demiurge. Can you see how it's the demiurge? Can you see how it's the two crescent moons and the duality, but there's no middle path? Here, the god of the pillars. Once again, this time it's dressed up so that you really don't know what it is, and it looks like it could be like nice or something. Then we get to these artifacts. See, I don't know if I want to go this fast yet. Remember playing with these years ago? We get to these completely unexplainable artifacts as though the world used to be under a different atmosphere. But it had a different consciousness, too. It had the inside on the outside. This is where it gets really interesting talking to Grok, because there's no other way to go with this. There's no other conclusion to come to, because we're done with the thing. Like, it was really ignorant when humanity was doing the thing of, these are just like drawings on a wall. The ancient people are stupid. We're like done with that. Like, everyone's done with that. Now it's the time to figure out, what is this really? See how the guy's making the symbol of the cup? See how this guy has the flower growing out of his head? They're waiting for the fertile crescent, and the fertile crescent is coming to fill up their cups. This is the origins of all cup stories, all in the Bible. See, you notice in this time, it's a festival. I mean, we could go to hundreds of these pictures. I wish I brought up, see, now I wish I brought up tons of the prehistoric, because we're getting old. We're before Jesus Christ, to find Jesus Christ. This is the time of Jesus Christ. This is Jesus Christ on the outside. We can't even comprehend what it would be to have the inside on the outside. And our outside is the law of duality. So we can't even comprehend this festival, this world and worldwide. What I'm saying is not opinion. These artifacts, I look at one and I think they're the same. Like I find other ones that are like this and I think they're the same because they look the same. Then I put it into Grok and then Grok shows me, oh no, this is from, 5,000 years ago and it's from this part of the world and the other one, and they're the same fucking thing. And it's worldwide. This festival of the black light. To truly understand what I'm saying, one for one, if you wanted a simulation of what I'm talking about, you go to Disneyland and you go on one of the rides. The mini rides, they're all themed this way at Disneyland with the black light. You start off the ride, you're in the black light with the lotus flower, because it's a big deal about the black light opening the lotus flower here. Some ancient shit going on. And you get in your Disneyland ride and it starts off in the black light and everyone's singing. Everyone's having the fucking greatest time. It's the festival. It's literally this festival. And this festival is going on. And then you have the classic part of the Disney ride where it's the scary part. And that's about like 3/4 of the way through that kind of finishes the ride. And you know what happens at the end of a Disney ride? After you've been through the party, you've been through the blacklight party, you've seen what the ancient world was truly like, well, then you're spit out into blinding white light. The white light of let there be light. The beginning of the God of the Old Testament. The beginning of the law of the pillars. The beginning of where we stopped having the black light, the purple light over humanity, and that's where Ra started, where now the sun beats us down. Toil, toil, toil. You know that part of the Bible? We used to live in a different world. Now the world is toil. Toil, toil. It's flesh and blood in a different way, as these people are flesh and blood, but they're not flesh and blood. See how they have dog ears and all that? These are shaman and all kinds of explanations. And understand, going back to just talking about the cup, they're sitting here waiting to be filled up. You can find so many of these pictures where you can find ones that are filled up by the crescent, and they make a crescent moon pose showing that they've been filled. And they're all waiting and they're all getting filled and they're all partying and they're all making either this cup pose or the filled up crescent moon pose. Then, now look how this works. This is the original of cup stories. Look how the Bible is full of what happened in the cataclysm. The Bible is about this cup spilling, like relentlessly. This cup spilling. And instead of it feeding everyone, however it did, because these people didn't worry about shit. They didn't have a care in the fucking world. The literal inside was on the outside. And when this cataclysm came, it made the cup spill. It made the outside turn into the law of duality, where no one can see the actual light. That's where the stories of you have to walk blindfolded to find your father in the dark because you'd be following the old light. You ever hear the story of it's just a Bible story right there. You can't come home this way. It's over. It's done. It doesn't work anymore. You can't go home. It's a classic story of the Bible and the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve being kicked out of the Garden of Eden and it being guarded by the flaming sword. It's pretty hardcore story here. I don't want to give away too much because we're having some fun. You know, we look at the cup spills out with wrath over all the nations. Yeah, they become the law of duality. They become the judgment, and they can't find their way home. They used to find their way. Do you know what this symbolism is? This used to be seen in the sky, and it didn't require a map. Then, and it was just been relentlessly documented worldwide in the time when they could literally see this in the sky, where the cube of Saturn unfolded into the flower of life that became a stairway that they walked up. And their way in there was union with God. And we don't even know what that would be, like union with God. That they were connected to God in a way where they didn't need to use this code like we do. For them, it was what they saw in the sky. For them, they were writing down the stairway of heaven. But for us, this is actually a map to get home. Because you can't go home the way that everyone used to take the stairway to heaven. Now, it's an inside journey. And this right here, symbolism, is a map. It's a map on how to get home by listening to your Father in the dark. You realize that you're wearing a blindfold, as in, I'm sure the Masons have the blind man ritual. I remember seeing pictures that are supposed to be creepy pictures of it or something like that. But it's basically symbolizing that the blinding light, you can't see the stairway to heaven anymore. You can't see any of this. It's still there. But now we're going to have to do it through an inside journey. How's all that going to work when we've taken on all the judgment that we don't even know that we do? Then I go to show everybody do not judge, and everybody just assumes that they know what it is. Then I go, no, it's so far outside your consciousness, you don't even have a clue of what it is. It has nothing to do with being obedient to God. It has everything to do with using this with your mind. Do not judge is so far outside your comprehension. And for everybody to just assume that they understand it, maybe let me show you what's the purpose. Let me show you why and all this. And then the Masons, they have their little ritual of the blind man. They ceremonially wear a blindfold, and then the blind man tries to find the door in the dark between the two pillars, the judgment pillars, what the world turned into. Look how it's relentlessly repeated everywhere. Does it make sense? Is it making sense on what this is? Does it make sense on why this symbolism is identical through all time? That we can find it every single place. We find it in Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper. Right now, it has the Christian. We're looking at a classic, like medieval style, whatever, I don't even know, Christian. Well, this is no different than the Egyptian shit. It's no different than the Sumerian shit. It's no different than anything that has ever been, because it's literally trying to document something real. Something that people just used to naturally do, that now we can't get there because the way our brains operate in the two different hemispheres, and we don't even realize it. We don't even know. That we don't realize that the code for this entire thing really comes down to that part in Jesus of Nazareth. Understand at the beginning, Adam and Eve are tricked into eating the duality. That's a story. It's a metaphor for the cataclysm. The God of the Old Testament comes into the picture. Adam and Eve, they are tricked into eating the duality, but it's all a metaphor. It's all the easiest way to tell us the story of the fall of humanity. What was the fall? It was a cataclysm that completely changed the earth, completely changed the atmosphere. We really did have another sun. All of this stuff, everything that I'm telling you, there's no wiggle room left in this stuff. There's like no opinion left. There's only like these conclusions to come to in the end. So this is rock solid. And we haven't even gotten close to fantastical yet. I hope this is so incredibly fucking fantastical that I sound like Alex Jones times 10, because it makes it a lot more fun. It makes it a lot more fun because there's no wiggle room here. There's no, like, try it yourself. You know, how about the classic sun? Isn't it right here? Isn't this How to Go Home? Right here? Look, it's all right here. The God of the Pillars. That's who controls the outside world. And you have to figure out what do not judge means so that you can walk through the door. It's all right here. So we can get so deep in everything that's here. But it's really just all right here. It's all right there. How do you go through the door? Well, the ancient people under the Garden of Eden, son, Jesus Christ's consciousness, they all operated, they had no problem walking through this door because the Christ allowed them to just easily come and go. Well, now the Bible, the story changed. We can't go home the same way. So now it's represented as Jesus Christ is the man at the door, waiting to greet you. All of Jesus Christ's teachings, every last one of them were designed so for us to walk through this door. Like, look how big the door is. The tomb, this is also Jesus Christ walks into the tomb, and it's the resurrection. Yeah, resurrection into what? There's a lot of questions that are solved here. This is as old as it gets. I don't even know the year. This is prehistoric beyond prehistoric. We're starting to get so fucking old right now. If you've seen enough of this over the years, because there's no way I would ever want you to lie to yourself. Let me see if you've seen enough of this. I could just ask you with this one right here. I mean, like, no one else would understand. I don't think. I think that you would. You've seen enough of this. You've seen it from Samaria. You've seen it everywhere. I mean, let me bring up this version here. They're the same. These two are the same. It's like watching a movie, and we're watching different stills of the movie. So let me just bring up this still. Like, have you seen enough of this? Yes, you have. Have you seen enough of this to recognize that you're looking at the same fucking thing right here? This is tremendously fucking old. This is what they saw in the sky. See, when it gets this old and you find it worldwide and it's these people, the dog ear people, the rabbit ear people, like, you find these in like river rocks. You find these in cave art. You find these all over the world in mysterious places, way beyond like your brain, like understanding where these are found. Your brain won't even do the thing of, did people travel to other places and show? It's too remote. It's too hidden. None of that shit works. The only conclusion you can come to with this is what they saw in the sky, but they gave them everything. And now our new story is we don't have this. Look how it's all documented as a map that they just freely used. They saw the worldwide cataclysm coming, and they doubly documented this thing. Especially you can see it in the cave art. The way that they documented it, they tried to explain it in every way possible. That's why it'll be like this type of stuff, and they'll try to explain it with animals. They'll try to just explain every single angle so that somebody could possibly understand what they're trying to explain. Always the same. But we have versions that are before, that are literally in the Garden of Eden world, and then we have versions where it's just carried over for worldwide, as long as time has been. The Fertile Crescent, behind the cube right here is the Fertile Crescent, We know this artifact very well. Yeah, couldn't I just show you this one though? And then you would just go, oh, okay, I can just look at that one because it's the same. Right here. This is what they saw in the sky. And this is how they connected to it. But it was natural. It was just life. We can't even comprehend how they lived the inside on the outside. We're used to the big, bad, scary world of separation on the inside. And then we ignite this purple light on the inside of us nowadays. That's where we get the comforter, the cozy. And this is where, see, even with this one right here, do you know what I do when I see something like this? I go, oh, even though I've seen all of this worldwide, I've seen more than I've seen more than you ever will. I've seen thousands and thousands, tens of thousands. I could say tens of thousands of artifacts at this point. And even though I know what all of this is the rain. The two pillars here are made out of the plasma rain coming down out of the sky. Even when I see this one, I don't just go, oh, there's the pillars. I go, oh, that might be a coincidence. Then I zoom out to go, nope, every piece is here. We have the dog ear people. We have them hugging the crescent moon. We have the stairway to heaven. I wish I brought pictures up of the stairway to heaven. I just kind of grabbed some random ones that I've been messing with. I wish I brought you some more. We'll do another video of some of the real obscure cave art. It's going to get real weird. Remember the bug people? Remember how I used to draw the bug people and then show? These aren't bug people. It's a wiring diagram. It's a schematic of the cosmos. Wait until we complete the bug people. Remember how weird it was? I mean, these are the bug people right here. No, it gets way more weird than this. But look how it's the same. This right here, of course, this god right here of the sun gate. It's identical to what's going on here. And do you know why these people look like bugs or whatever you want to say that they look like? They do not look like people. They look like aliens because you could see through. That was the whole thing. Once you understand how these artifacts start getting real fucking weird, because they're drawn as though the festival of the black light, maybe it's an eclipse, because there's always an eclipse. And you know how important the fucking eclipse is. Jesus Christ being put on the cross, the eclipse is like, and the eclipse gave all the mathematics, as in the equinox and all that stuff. And it's like this festival, there's like an eclipse. Something happens and everybody can see through the moon. Everybody can see through Saturn. Everybody can see through each other. And then you get these artifacts where it's all drawn as like an animal, a fish, but all of the anatomy of the fish, it's drawn as though that the people drawing it could literally see through. And they drew the outer skin of the fish, but they drew all of the innards of it perfectly where all of it's supposed to be, and did it with everything. And it gets real. Then here's another time where this is one of the world's oldest artifacts, as in not as old as these prehistoric ones right here, but this is, it's so amazing that we've gone over this artifact so many times. Here's the Fertile Crescent. Again, here's the people with their arms up, the dog-eared people, and they're making the cup, and they're raising their hands towards the Fertile Crescent because that's how things worked then. They were getting some drink, however they drank. I don't know. They drank different than us because they literally made a shape of a cup with their body, and the Fertile Crescent filled. And this is like the symbol of how the Fertile Crescent was like humanity's lifeline. It was like how humanity understood everything, how humanity knew everything. We can't understand it. They had no care in the world. How do you understand that? We know toil, 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 toil. Our brains don't function any other way. But we know toil, 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 raw. The outside day beats us down. The heat of the day, the sun of the day, it beats us down. And it beats us down mentally because it's part of the pillared world of judgment. So what would my videos, am I just teaching you do not judge for no reason at all? Am I showing you I'm showing you some real fantastical shit with those text videos. If you actually like got into them, if you actually understood it, showing you some way the fuck out there. Are you guys ready to go way far outside the box? So incredibly far outside the box, you didn't even know that I didn't even know. So far, I was like, so wacky, so weird. Then you can't even chalk this shit up to opinion. There's no way out. Like, are you ready to go to Bizarro? It's Bizarro town like you've never been to because there's no wiggle room for the ego. Do you even know what it's like to experience that? Do you know what it's like for your ego? The death throes of your ego, where your ego just can't go, that's an opinion. No, you have to explain it. No, you don't get to chalk shit. We clearly have artifacts here that are unexplained. They're the same artifacts. One of them is clearly made under the sun that we know now. The other ones are clearly made under a different atmosphere, as they're talking about a different sun, as they're showing that the world that they lived in and how it worked and how it operated. And when we get down to wait a minute, these are all real things and real worldly things. Like there's no where to go anymore. There's only to discover the truth of it. So I just wanted to make you some type of video showing you, because from the outside, as we all live on the outside these days, like I don't understand what my videos looked like to you. Am I just coming at you with fire and brimstone going, guys, do not judge? No, I'm not trying to come down with fire and brimstone. I'm not trying to make I don't know, are my videos coming off like tremendously Christian? I don't even understand what anybody would think about I'm real hardcore on this, guys, you don't know what do not judge means because you don't. How do I get it? How do I get it through you? How do I get that do not judge? Your whole life you've been conditioned to think that it's like you're disobeying God and let everything in, and it was literally like a functional thing. It's a real functional thing that actually works. We've been using do not judge as a mind control mechanism. We've been using it solely in a way to police everyone, ourselves, to police it all. We don't even know how incredibly we missed the mark. It did not mean anything like we thought it did. So far outside of it all. So I guess we'll end where we began. This is why the world is like it is. This symbolism right here explains it. Under the black light, that was the golden age. You know that purple light came from Saturn? Did you know that cube on Saturn unfolded into the flower of life? Do you know it's somehow this planetary alignment had an eclipse and it rained plasma that energized these people, gave them food, did something. And in the end, we'll all figure out how it all works the same way as things make sense that never made sense before. You know, Jesus Christ feeding everybody, just all of a sudden, Jesus Christ manifests a bunch of bread. That's coming from this. That's coming from that the Fertile Crescent at one time fed everyone. And Jesus Christ is the representation of the man from the Garden of Eden. Jesus Christ is the representation of how things used to be then Everybody downloaded Demiurge OS. Nobody can go home because they downloaded Demiurge OS. Then you try to give them the clue, the ticket, the relief. You say, do not judge. That's the cure. And then nobody can comprehend it through their duality brain. Everybody goes, I already know what that is. Everybody has these little things where they all think that they know what it is, and that's what keeps them all out. That's why no one knows what it is, because they believe that they already do, and you miss the mark so incredibly far. So incredibly far is the whole entire world is controlled this way, through the demiurge. Doesn't matter what civilization. Go to any civilization. Quit being afraid of the Baal and shit like that. Go to any civilization and just go, give me your boogeyman, because every civilization, you know why? And they're real. Every single civilization has a boogeyman that used to be the god, that used to be the Fertile Crescent. Ever since the cataclysm, every single one of those gods turned into the gods of the pillar, turned into a gatekeeper. They guard the door. You go infinitely between pillar to pillar, never walking through the door. You walk around the cube of Saturn as one of the rings of Saturn itself, as you are identical to the judge. The judge's robe. Do you see how these boogeymen are the outside world, the outside cataclysm, the new light? Everyone used to love Saturn. But do you know what? Nothing has changed in some respects, because do you know what's inside that cube in Mecca? Jesus Christ. Do you know what was in, if we went to any civilization, the boogeyman of the civilization, Baal. What's the other one? Molech. Molech's furnace. Those are outside gods. So anywhere you go, that's the outside. That's the world that we live in. Jesus Christ is on the inside. Every single civilization, every single everything, the gatekeeper God is the God of the pillars on the outside. That's everyone's God. Since everyone is identical to him, you're only like Jesus Christ when you know what do not judge is, because now you're being like the old world. Now you're being like the original Jesus Christ operating system that everybody else used to run under. So there's so much for me to say. I mean, I could sit here and talk for hours about this. I hope this is like absolutely mind-blowing, fascinating shit here, as we still haven't even gotten close to getting fantastical here. I mean, we're scratching the surface. It's nothing. Like, we're going to Bizarro Town here, guys. And there ain't no wiggle room for no one. Have you ever experienced? I don't think anybody's ever experienced that. I don't think anybody's ever gone into these real world fantastical fucking things and there hasn't been wiggle room for everyone. No one's ever sealed it up in truth. No one's ever shown the real McCoy of everything. Do you know how weird it is to look at all this and then you don't get to just explain it away? You don't just get to go, oh, people have opinions, and then that person had an opinion. What happens when that time's over? So, much love to everyone. I appreciate your donations greatly. If you enjoy my videos, enjoy my work, enjoy my discoveries, please donate. Much love. Hope you have the greatest day.